What's going on, guys? It's your boy Headband J coming back at y'all with a video, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my 2021 NBA playoff predictions. Now, I am recording and posting this video on the 19th of May, which means that the play-in tournament still has not finished. We still have the Wizards versus Pacers game for the 8th spot, and we obviously still have the Western Conference to play these games. So I'll be giving my predictions for all the games that haven't happened yet and what I think is going to happen in all of these series and who's going to be crowned the NBA champion. However, I just wanted to put in the date that I was recording this so you guys understand the context of what was going on when I recorded this video. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. In the Eastern Conference, the Celtics beat the Wizards to take the 7th seed, and they will be playing the Brooklyn Nets in the first round, and I have the Brooklyn Nets winning in 6 games. As for the rest of the play-in tournament in the Eastern Conference, there will be one more game between the Washington Wizards and the Indiana Pacers. I have the Wizards winning this game and taking that 8th spot, and they will be playing the Sixers. I have the Wizards getting swept in this series by the Sixers. And then we move on to the 4th seed versus the 5th seed of the Knicks and Hawks. I have the Knicks winning in 7 games here. My prediction for this series is that it's going to be a good series, but Trae Young is going to end up choking, and the internet is going to let him have it while we all celebrate the Knicks winning a playoff series. Next in the Eastern Conference, in the first round, there is the 3-seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus the 6-seeded Miami Heat. I have the Bucks winning in 5 games. I think they are going to take revenge for what happened in last year, and they are going to put the Uno reverse card on the Heat, and they are going to blow them out in this series. So that is how I think that the first round is going to go in the Eastern Conference. Just to go over things again, I have the Sixers advancing, the Knicks advancing, the Bucks advancing, and the Nets advancing. Next, let's move on to the Western Conference first round. As for the playoff tournament, I have the Golden State Warriors taking the 8th seed and the Los Angeles Lakers taking the 7th seed. So I'm predicting that the Lakers will beat the Warriors in the first play-in game. However, the Warriors will end up beating the Grizzlies in the second playoff game and taking that 8th seed. So let's start at the bottom and go up. So in the 2 versus 7 matchup, we would have the Suns versus the Lakers, and in this series, I have the Suns in 6 games. As great as LeBron is and as consistent he has shown to be in the playoffs, I think the Lakers have ran out of gas. They are not there mentally, and I think playing in this play-in tournament has thrown them off of their rhythm. So I'm predicting that the 2nd-seeded Phoenix Suns will continue their great season and advance in the playoffs. Next, we have the 3-seeded Denver Nuggets versus the 6-seed Portland Trail Blazers. Now, this is becoming somewhat of a rivalry between these two teams. They do not like each other very much. And the last time that they faced each other, the Blazers won in 7 games. What I'm predicting this time is that the Nuggets will win in 6 games. Things might get off to a little bit of a rough start for the Nuggets. They have a tendency to do that, but they know who the Blazers are at this point, and I believe the Blazers are another team that has just run out of gas, and I'm predicting that they are going to fire Terry Stotts when this season is over. Next, in the 4th seed versus the 5th seed, we have the Clippers versus the Mavericks. Once again, a rematch of the first round last year. Last year, the Clippers won in 6 games, and I am predicting that this year the Clippers are also going to win in 6 games. Sorry, Luka, you're going to have to wait for that first playoff series win. At the top of the Western Conference bracket, we would have the 1-seed Utah Jazz versus the 8-seed Golden State Warriors. Now, I'm predicting that this series is going to go to 7 games. However, the Jazz will end up advancing. Steph Curry will continue to play amazing, however, it will not be enough against the Jazz. They will push the Jazz to the limit and test them, but in the end, the Jazz will advance. So, to conclude my first round predictions, I have the Jazz, Clippers, Nuggets, and Suns all advancing. Let's go back to the East and talk about the second round. So for the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, we would have the Sixers versus the Knicks and the Bucks versus the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I have the 76ers advancing. I have them beating the Knicks in 5 games. Then let's go down to the Bucks versus Nets series. In this series, I have the Bucks winning in 7 games. This is going to be another one of those series where the Nets are really tested, and in the end, their foes, the Bucks, will come out on top. I think the Nets are just going to crumble at some point in this series, and I think that they will be considered a failed super team when we look back on them. So, in the Eastern Conference Finals, we have the Sixers versus the Bucks. Now, this would be a great matchup. We have Giannis, who has never been to an NBA Finals before, a back-to-back MVP, has never accomplished one of his biggest goals, and Joel Embiid, one of the NBA's best centers, and someone who really wants to get to a Finals, has also not been there. In this series, you could pretty much flip a coin for how I think it's going to go. I think this is going to be the Giannis versus Joel Embiid show. But in the end, the Milwaukee Bucks will advance. That is what I'm predicting. In 6 games. I think the Milwaukee Bucks have many, many weapons, and they will handedly take care of the Sixers and surprise everyone and make it to the NBA Finals. In the second round of the Western Conference playoffs, we would have the Jazz versus the Clippers and the Nuggets versus the Suns. Man, really great matchups here. In the first series of the second round that I mentioned, the Clippers versus the Jazz, I have the Clippers advancing. I think the Clippers are going to win in 6 games. I think they're going to surprise everyone, and Kawhi and Paul George are going to show out and show everyone that the Utah Jazz were fool's gold. And in the Nuggets versus Suns series, I have the Phoenix Suns advancing in 7 games. Denver has a knack of making series go to 7 games, and I think that this will not be an exception. Unfortunately for the Nuggets, I have the Suns advancing to the conference finals, which would set up a Clippers versus Suns matchup. Although I do like the Phoenix Suns a lot, I don't think that they could beat the Clippers in a 7-game series, especially if this was the Western Conference Finals. And for that reason, I have the Clippers winning in 6 games as Kawhi Leonard advances to his 3rd NBA Finals and Paul George advances to his 1st. So, in the finals, we have the Bucks versus the Clippers, and drumroll please. I have the Clippers winning it all. I think they are going to handedly take care of business, and they beat the Bucks in 5 games. They effectively shut down Giannis. Kawhi wins his 3rd ring and Finals MVP, and Paul George completes his redemption arc, and we all get to see Steve Ballmer celebrate like a little boy. So yeah, guys, I have the Clippers winning it all. I know that's a bit of an interesting take, but that is the NBA playoffs. That they are unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. And with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win the NBA Finals this year. And with all that being said, it's your boy Headband J, signing off.